Becca.
Hi, Amanda.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good, good. You know, Travis complimented that the audio sounded better
In my kitchen?
in your kitchen, so I think this is our spot.
This is it.
Have to have very specific times when this kitchen
Nap
is
times,
available.
when TJ's not home, when he's sleeping.
Yes. How are you?
Good.
The fuck is up? Anything?
No, not really. Today's my day off.
That's exciting, and here I am imposing.
No, it's fine.
It's fun. It's enjoyable.
It's great.
You have
slept
it
in a little bit.
Nice. You have acupuncture today?
I do.
Does that hurt?
No, not really.
What does it feel like? Because they're
It's
putting
like
like
a little-
the needles on you.
Yeah, but it's the tiniest little needle, and it's like they've got this tiny little needle, and to like stick it into you, it's in like a clear tube. So then they put the clear tube on you, and then they like tap the end of the needle, which the needle has like a little kind of springy on the end.
Oh, okay.
So they tap the end of the little springy, and then it like pokes into you. So mostly what you're feeling is the tap from the thing.
Oh, okay. Kind of distracts from like
Yeah.
what's actually going in there.
Right.
If you hear a chicken in the background, Jessica's
That
rooster,
man.
is pissed.
He sits on the front porch. All of them. They sit on the front porch. They shit all over the place, and he just crows the whole time.
Oh wait, I think it's funny.
Such a dick.
So if you hear it, I mean, if he gets excessive, then I'll chase him with that board again.
I beat the shit out of him with a broom this weekend.
Oh yeah?
Because he got after Jackson. I felt so bad.
So now you're officially that crazy like porch lady
Yes.
in her pajamas,
Yes, just...
swinging it.
Well, I was sweeping off the front porch, because that's normal to
All
do
the shit.
on a Saturday. Sweeping chicken shit off the porch. Jackson goes running around the corner. So I chased after him, and the rooster had just like flown up and like kicked at him with his feet. Like he was on the back of his like jacket.
Uh-huh.
So kicked at him with his feet. So he knocked him over, and he's screaming because it's fucking terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I'm running after this fucking rooster, smacking it with the broom. He's such a dick.
Well, I mean, he wants your attention, clearly. He knows the child is gone. He wants you to hold him.
You think so?
Be my friend.
I'm not gonna hold
Bring him in here.
No, I don't trust him.
TJ comes home. You remember that video on Facebook where the lady's just got all her chickens in the bathtub and she's just sitting with them, and the husband's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I've never seen that. I saw a meme on Facebook though the other day. It was like this lady, she was wearing like a long fur coat or something in like a sexy pose, and she's got her chicken on like a diamond studded leash, and it said "me in 40 years" or at 40 or something like that.
We should do that photo shoot this summer. Just have bring like a pretty chair out into the woods and just have you with your chickens
I don't like those chickens.
and
that
your
much.
cats.
The theory was you get them when they're really young, make them love you, you'll all be best friends. The ones that we did that with all died, got eaten. These ones are replacements. We're not really friends with them.
And they know they're replacements.
They know they're replacements.
We know you didn't care about those first ones.
Right.
We smell their bodies.
Yes, exactly. So they just shit everywhere and chase my kid.
It's great.
I might get a little baby duck though.
You need something.
I want like something to be my friend.
Travis was freaking out because after we dropped the boys off here, then on 94 we were behind this like goat breeding company, and they had this tiny little trailer with goats in it, and he was like, "Jessica needs a goat." And I was like, "Yeah, she does, but she doesn't know where the fuck she's gonna put it."
Where am I gonna put it? I hear that they jump up on cars, which is gonna be a problem.
Oh yeah, Travis already is very anxious that a cat's gonna jump on his truck.
They don't like right away.
Yeah,
Maybe if it's sitting there all day,
it's warm.
but that's not going to be their first course of whatever. They
Right.
usually jump on my car if they're in the garage
Right. Well, it's warm.
and they have nothing better to do.
Yeah, they want to lay on it. I'm always afraid that one's gonna be my fucking wheel well, and I'm gonna kill one of your animals, and then I'm gonna have to tell you.
Yeah.
I might not tell you.
That's okay.
I might just take it with me.
Yeah.
Like, your cat's missing.
What happened? Where'd Gator go?
Right. It's like my mom when she was like, one of the cats ran away. Well, then we found out later she crushed it in the garage door. I was like,
Oh.
okay.
That's always a problem.
It is a problem.
Possibility.
Which if a small breeze comes by my garage door, it fucking kicks back open. It's like, nope, danger. Danger. Yeah, there's nothing new going on with me. I hit a good goal weight milestone.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I have like 37 days till our trip that I can go down another 5. Nice. I think that's achievable.
Heck yeah.
Don't eat. Stress a lot.
Are you like actively continuing to lose weight, or are you kind of plateaued?
No, I haven't plateaued at all.
No, you still keep going.
Yeah, it's been like a steady I think my longest plateau was 2 weeks where I was at like 164.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say I started at like 184 because that's when I truly started to diet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now I'm at 150. But yeah, just for like 2 weeks. But I was probably eating garbage. We've had naughty time periods. I need to be working out more than I fucking am.
I've been doing so good this week.
Yeah?
Every day I get up and I run.
Good job. Where are you running? Oh, you have your elliptical.
My treadmill.
Nice.
I have a treadmill.
I hate running.
I actually use it.
Wow. It's not just a laundry holder.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Travis and I will work out at home, but I've been sick. I don't want to work out. And Travis was like, that's not an excuse. And I was like,
it's true.
It's definitely an excuse if you're coughing.
Right. I want it to be an excuse, but...
I know. I'm going to do it today before my meeting. Just a few minutes.
I just don't want to.
Well, I put all my swimsuits on last night, and I was like, I look good. This looks good. But I could tone this part a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like just focusing on maybe the stomach a little bit. But I don't have love handles, which is great.
Nice.
That's an achievement.
That's what I have. I can't get rid of them.
Well, I mean, I'm also wearing swimsuits that aren't giving me a love handle. Like, I'm not tying them too tight or doing weird things. Because that's my biggest thing. Is like, I don't want to look like that girl that's busting out of her bikini. Like,
look at my super small bikini.
Isn't it cute?
So cute.
Some good just go down on that pubis bone so low. Pubic bone so low.
Nobody wants to see that.
No. Nope.
I mean, maybe dudes want to see
I'll
it.
keep it hiked up. We will not let this shit fall out. All right, well, we're here for What the Fuck Wednesday.
What the fuck?
We got a lot of shit to cover, man. All right, so last month, Jessica gave us all the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you need to know about the royal family, which was very helpful. And actually, I'm finding myself more and more fascinated by them. Not that I want to, like, worship them, but they're very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of just the technicalities and the rules you have to follow and everything it's interesting.
It is interesting. It's archaic, but it's interesting that it still exists. So I said that because Jessica had never heard of the rumors around Princess Diana's death or the conspiracy theories, that I was going to enlighten her. Now, what is your knowledge at all of her death?
Car crash?
Yeah. That's your basis?
That's it, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to try to go over, like, the background of, like, her life, her marriage, how she became a royal person, and how they, fell apart and what happened. So, Princess Diana was born Diana Frances Spencer on July 1st, 1961. She was the daughter of John Spencer, 8th Earl Spencer. What the fuck? And Frances Shond Kyde. Which, why is Earl a fancy thing in Britain? But here it's like a Dixie Chick song.
It's like a weird dude
Earl,
name.
yeah.
You only name your kid Earl if you're a hillbilly.
Oh, absolutely. Or you have no self-worth. She was born into British nobility and grew up close to the royal family in their Sandringham estate. I'm going to butcher all this. I don't give a shit. Parents divorced in 1967, and it is reported that this was super, super hard on Diana. She would have only been 6 years old, and that this kind of traumatized her in future relationships because the fear of having a broken family was, devastating. Jessica is from a divorced family, so she's rolling her eyes right now, like, grow up, bitch. You're gonna be fine.
Get the fuck over it.
I'm sure it's
someday your parents will flirt with each other again, and it'll just be fucking weird.
Yeah, let's have sex randomly at your birthday party. It'll be fine.
It's totally fine.
In her youth, Diana was talented and beautiful. She was gifted with music, dance, and sports. In 1978, she moved to London and lived with her friends in a flat, it said, which is an apartment. And she became more of like a commoner. She worked low-paying jobs. She was a daycare teacher and did a bunch of things that wasn't really like of nobility. She just enjoyed being with children.
She liked donating her free time.
Yeah, she always loved children from the time she was a child herself. Meeting Prince Charles. Prince Charles was the heir to the British throne. He's the son of Queen Elizabeth. And Prince Philip is the king. Well, he's not a king, but whatever. He first met Diana in 1977 when he was dating her older sister, Lady Sarah.
Oh, she was Lady Diana then?
No, it never said that she... Oh, yeah, Lady Di, yeah. She was a lady as well. Sorry. Diana was only 16 at the time when they were dating. That relationship didn't last very long. He took serious interest in Diana when they met at a weekend event where she watched him play polo. They then proceeded to date for 6 months, but only reportedly had seen each other 13 times total.
Oh.
Yes. Charles proposed to Diana on February 3rd, 1981. The engagement was kept secret until February 24th. Diana received the famous 12-carat oval blue sapphire ring. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And I think Kate has it now. Mm-hmm. It cost about 30,000 euros. It was 12 carats, and she bought it from a catalog.
She bought it from a catalog?
She ordered it from a catalog.
Holy shit.
Which was unconventional because I do believe that like jewels for a royal family should come from
the royal house jewels.
Yeah, exactly. So it either should be formed from another ring or have a stone from another ring, but she was unconventional from the start. They officially got married on July 29th, 1981. So it was noted a lot that Prince Charles was kind of forced to pick a bride because
it was getting to his peak time.
Yeah.
You need to marry somebody.
He was in his 30s. He had a bunch of failed relationships. And the queen was just getting fed up. Like, you just need to marry someone, you know.
Are you kind of, well, I guess there was that, I don't know, not a law, but there was that one. But I was going to say, are you pretty much allowed to date whoever you want? But except for that one law that was rescinded, that was like, you can't marry a Roman Catholic or something like that. But
right. I think they're allowed to date, but it doesn't mean you're allowed to marry that person. Mm-hmm. So, and we'll get into his love life.
The queen does have to technically approve it.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So out of their marriage, they had Prince William Arthur Philip Louis, and he was born on June 21st, 1982, and Prince Henry Charles Albert David, born on September 15th, 1984.
Why do they need so many names?
Prince Harry. I have no fucking clue. I know that there was some controversy too with her trying to use some of her family family names in there too. Mm-hmm. And I did hear on like multiple podcasts that I listened to who also covered this. The queen was not pleased that they were born redheads.
How are they supposed to fix that?
Because they all have dark, like the royal family is dark brunette hair, and she's a redhead. Or
was she red or blonde? I thought she was blonde.
Well, she had her hair color, but she had a reddish, naturally
like
reddish.
Strawberry blonde.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But the boy, Prince Harry is.
Yeah.
And her father, because they have like a Scottish bloodline, I think, had red hair. So it's part of her family. Can you imagine the queen just being like, ugh, this ginger.
I'm not going to hold this ginger baby.
Get him out of here. The failing marriage. Almost right away, the couple began having serious issues with their marriage. Prince Charles had appeared to never really love Diana, but was forced to marry her because of her family's royal blood, and that he was over 30 and he had not chosen a bride yet. So immense pressure from the royal family. And the queen did like Diana at first. Mm-hmm. She came from a good family. She was cute. She was petite. She was kind of that.
She did the cute donate my time to schools and shit.
Yeah, which was cute before she became royal. After that, they were like, cut that shit off. You're fucking rich. We'll get to that. But Camilla Shand met Prince Charles, so we're going to talk about the affairs.
Oh, he had affairs.
Yes.
So you said that they started having problems with their marriage right away.
Yeah.
Before the kids, after the kids?
It sounded like it was after Prince William was born.
And he was born like right after they got married?
Yeah, the next year. Almost exactly a year later he was born.
Okay.
1 month from their wedding anniversary. You know, it might have been that honeymoon period where everything was great and she was happy and whatever. So we're going to talk about Camilla Shand, which you may know who she is because she is currently Prince Charles' wife. Mm-hmm. They got married in 2005.
How did the queen fucking approve that? Or maybe second marriages don't matter?
I think at this point, once you get to the end of this fucking craziness, she's just like, fuck it. I don't
care as long as you quit fucking around.
Do something. Which this girl's got a dog face compared to Princess Diana. She's like super tomboyish or whatever. But Camilla Shand met Prince Charles in 1970 at a polo match in Windsor. The two fell madly in love, but parted ways in 1971 when Charles joined the Royal Navy. In 1971, Camilla marries Andrew Park Bowles. Reportedly, when the news of her engagement broke, Charles broke down and was inconsolable for several days. The royal family did not want Camilla and Charles to marry because it was not a noble union. So she's
a nobody.
Yeah, she came from money, but it wasn't like enough for them. Also, she was a big tomboy, and the queen did not like that. Like, she was very athletic, and she had a dog face, and she, just...
She was me.
No. In 1986, Charles and Camilla resumed their love affair while married to Diana, which it could have been going on the whole fucking time. Mm-hmm. But this is the date that they eventually stick to. It was years after, which is basically just covering Charles' ass.
Yeah.
Diana was not stupid and knew that something was going on. In 1989, Diana confronted Camilla at a party and said, "Camilla, I would just like to know that I know exactly what is going on between you and Charles. I wasn't born yesterday." Camilla allegedly responded, "You've got everything you've ever wanted. You've got all the men in the world to fall in love with you, and you've got two beautiful children. What more do you want?" And Diana said,
"My husband.
I want my husband." Yep, that's exactly what she said. "I want my husband." Which is so, you can just picture that interaction. The lady's just like, you got the crown, you got the money, you're the most famous person in the world. She is the most photographed woman in the world.
Really?
Oh, she was a huge celebrity. Huge celebrity. They, she was referred to as like the people's princess. Like, she was a massive celebrity.
Well, and I mean, at the time of the weddings, like, Kate was really big, and so was
Meghan Markle.
Meghan.
Yep.
They were really big at the time of their wedding. So, I mean, I could see that, but she must have kept it going.
Well, and also somebody talks about there was no social media. There was tabloids and stuff, but there wasn't much else in the world to focus on. And when the wedding streamed, it was on every channel. It's what the entire world watched, and it was this fantasy.
It's a pretty wedding.
Yeah, and not much had come out yet about how dirty that family really was, so I think they still had a lot of their, like, reputation, you know what I mean? So, yeah, she was absolutely beloved. During this time of her marriage, Diana began suffering with bulimia and was self-harming due to her depression. So she was... And she admitted this in a famous interview in 1995, that she was binging and purging, and she was cutting up her legs and stuff.
That's what I should do.
Binging and purging?
Eat all the food that I want.
Yeah.
Pizza for days. Just vomit up.
I would, but I can't stand throwing up.
I know.
It's like
I hate it so much.
My butthole clenches so hard, and like I feel like it's never gonna end, and my eyes water. And I have a deviated septum, so it comes out my nose usually.
Oh, gross. So, yeah, definitely not. That's out for you.
Yeah, but if it works for you, man, go for it. Just have control. Like, just know the end.
Right.
We're not condoning eating disorders.
It's a bad idea.
It's a joke. God, calm down, Karen. Diana, what she stated was that she was self-harming to get the attention of Charles. Like, he wouldn't give her the time of day. There's rumors that he wasn't even sleeping in the same room as her. He was spending all of his time away from the castle with Camilla.
Why wouldn't he even bother trying to fucking hide it?
Because this is a man of extreme privilege. Like, he doesn't have to.
I am who I am. I do what I fucking want.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. I mean, there's another member of the royal family who...
And the queen wasn't like, shut this shit down?
Oh, she was angry this whole time. Yeah, she was really, really mad. But it kind of sounds like there's this thing with the royal family, like, do what you want, just don't make it public.
Yeah.
Like, Camilla's great-grandmother had an affair with a king, one of the kings. So, like, she's got a whole family of fucking around with the royals. But
why would she even be allowed to meet him or, like, be invited to parties and shit?
Right.
If her family's already tainted.
Because her husband could not have her around.
I'm the fucking queen. I'd be like, who are you? Get out of my fucking country.
Right, exactly. Get out of here.
I want your whole goddamn family out of here.
Well, and there was one article that I read that, like, maybe if you take a step back, maybe this is a tragic love story between Charles and Camilla. Like, he wanted to be with her, and maybe that was his soulmate and the love of his life, but they were never allowed to be together. And then how would you respond? Yeah. You can't not be together. So there is both sides of that. But at the same time, you have a very innocent, fragile wife who's, like, losing her shit and hurting herself.
Yeah, it wasn't her fault either.
Right.
Like, you asked her to marry her and you, whatever. And she did.
Yeah. And if Camilla was that important to you, you would have fought for it.
Or even, like, tell her straight up, like, I would like for you to marry me. But it's just going to be for show. Is that something that you can mentally handle?
Right. I'll give you the best life that you want.
You'll be a fucking princess.
Go fuck whoever you want.
Right.
Right.
On the DL.
It probably would have worked if they had that conversation ahead of time.
Right.
Because Diana did begin her own affair in 1986.
Oh, she did? Diana.
She had a long-term affair with James Hewitt, who was her riding instructor from 1986 to 1991, which is straight out of a smut book.
Ride me, James.
Yep. He was like some big military lieutenant or whatever, hot. Yeah, they would just on the side.
Do it.
But if you're lonely, you have to have someone to love you. The royal family, especially the queen, quickly began to not like Princess Diana because of her unconventional behavior, such as she made the boys go to public school.
Great.
And not private tutoring, which is what her sons currently do with their children. Mm-hmm. So William has never, their kids go to public school. Yep. She took them to McDonald's, was a big controversy. She would let them eat McDonald's.
Because how can you get through life with not at least having one McDonald's French fry?
Right. Well, there was some big controversy, too, because she would wait in long lines with the boys. Like, she wouldn't even jump to the head, which she could have.
Good.
But she would volunteer for causes that the royal family was not interested in. She famously shook the hands of an AIDS patient without a glove on. They didn't like how famous she was becoming and the relationship she had with the media. And because what she would do is she would call the media and say, you can come get your photos. I'm going to be here. You can come get your photos from this time to this time. But from what I hear from like her assistant and her like team, that was to mitigate the chaos, like to minimize how long they would be around. Like at least it was planned. You got your photo.
Right.
Because that...
Come on down, get your photo, but afterwards, fuck off.
Right.
And let me do my thing.
So she can control it.
Yeah.
And she knows, which is smart on her part. Also, the paparazzi back then made so much fucking money off pictures because it's not like online where you can get free photos all the time and it's everywhere. You would sell them specifically, like Spider-Man, to the newspaper. And they would make a ton of fucking money. So...
just like Spider-Man.
Right. And the nice thing is that she then would build relationships with photographers. And so she knew the ones that were around were kind.
She could get good photos. Get my good side.
Right. Well, and then they weren't going to act like assholes. They weren't going to scream at her, and they weren't going to be invasive with her kids. Like, they had this mutual respect. It's time to wake up.
I don't know if you know this. Wake the fuck up.
She also spoke very freely. It was very liberal. And she dressed a little bit more provocative than royals usually did. So she famously had, like, you know, sweetheart necklines in her dresses, or they'd be strapless, or they'd have, like, a slit or whatever.
I did see when I was looking all the rules, regulations, whatever. There was a lot of photos of her. She had like a purse. She was famous for having some sort of cute handbag that she would hold over her chest as she got out of a car.
Yep.
Because, you know, like you said, she would wear short dresses like that, but they obviously didn't want you to show off your tits, so she would like hold the bag there.
Which she looks sexy and beautiful, but it's I would say super modest for this day and age. Like her tits aren't like you said, her tits aren't hanging out. She's not wearing like a J-Lo.
I was gonna say she didn't wear a J-Lo Super Bowl outfit.
Right.
Smoking hot.
So scandalous. She comes out of the castle just swinging on a pole. It's like on wheels or something. So the media circus begins. So they're both having affairs. They're both fucking miserable. She's depressed. Other people said that she had other mental illness, but I think if you're going through shit like this, of course you do.
I mean, we can start counting it. When he gets really annoying, I'll just go kick him.
Okay. It's like too close together. So the media circus begins. Well, I mean, it's been going on this whole time, but in 1992, Camilla Gate starts.
Camilla Gate.
It's so funny. In November 1992, the press manages to release private tapes between Charles and Camilla, confirming their affair and feelings for each other. Tabloids called this Camilla Gate. Charles was recorded in this phone call stating that he wished he was Camilla's tampon.
Weird.
So weird. And they were released publicly, so obviously the queen is fucking mortified.
Yeah.
That her son wants to grow up to be a tampon.
I told you to get this shit together.
Right.
You fucking didn't.
Why are you wanting to crawl up in her puss? Gross. But they had very intimate conversations, and I love you, and, you know, it sounded like a married couple, besides the tampon thing. I will get a divorce if Travis ever suggests that he wants to be my tampon.
It's fucking weird.
What is that, Step Brothers, where she's like, I want to crawl up in a little ball, or put you inside my vagina.
Right.
Just
so
like
anytime I move, I can just feel you. Feel you inside me.
Oh, that's a great movie. So in 1992, Charles and Diana officially separate after those tapes are released. In 1994, Charles went on air on TV to confess his affair with Camilla. He claimed that he did attempt to remain faithful until it became clear that his marriage was broken.
Oh, yeah?
Which would have been about 1986.
How'd that work for you?
Bullshit. That's why I think they were doing it that whole time. Like, they probably never stopped. But he was just like, but this is the date that it was okay. Because it was never going to be fixed.
Because you didn't try. You didn't want to try.
So in 1995, Camilla divorces her husband.
Surprise. Oh, she was still married. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
He knew.
Well, she only had married her husband because he came from, like, a really wealthy family. And they had multiple friends say that she stated, like, I don't like him, but he's rich. Which, good for you.
Find yourself a sugar daddy.
And at the same year, Diana admitted her affair with her riding instructor. And he later went on to write a book about her. Not like slandering her, but like how great of a person she was. Or whatever.
Loved her so much.
Yeah, well, neither of them ever really said that they loved each other. It's just like good sex.
Great.
Yeah. Good sex. Why not? At
just
the riding stables?
To warm your bed.
Do you think he ever used the crop?
Oh, absolutely.
Nice. So then we have this super famous 1995 interview that she did on the BBC. And she discussed openly that the royal family deemed her a non-starter from the beginning when it came to her future as queen. When asked why, she stated, because I do things differently, because I don't go by a rule book, because I lead from the heart, not the head. And albeit that's got me into trouble in my work, I understand that, but someone's got to go out there and love people and show it. So she was always about the people. They asked her, do you ever think you'll be queen? And she said, no, I will never be queen. And she goes, and they said, well, why? And she said, because there are people in that castle who will make sure that I will never be queen. They do not want to see me be queen.
Right.
And she said, I prefer to be queen of people's hearts.
Cute.
She's very cute. And then talking about the affair, she said, well, there was 3 of us in this marriage, so it got a bit crowded. And she talked about her eating disorder and self-harming, that she did it to receive attention from her husband.
Right. So then she stopped?
She did stop. It only went on for a few years.
She didn't get the attention she wanted. She was like, okay, bye.
Okay, bye. That's kind of hurt to cut your legs. They officially divorced in 1996 after an order from the Queen to stop this behavior and move on, because they were both giving interview after interview just trying to slander each other. I felt like it was more Charles trying to slander Diana and her just trying to save face, you know? But the Queen was the one that officially stated, like, you must get a divorce, and it was ordered.
I don't know why it was allowed to go on for that long.
Yeah, if that's 10 years of affairs.
If you don't want a bunch of public knowledge or a bunch of slander, shut that shit down.
Yeah, you have the power to silence them.
Right.
So Princess Diana was awarded $23 million.
Jesus.
Plus a $600,000 a year salary.
Yeah.
Which, sign me up. Diana was given the right to retain her apartment at the Kensington Palace so that she could be close to her children. And she was allowed to keep her title of Princess of Wales. So she died Princess of Wales.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't know that they allowed divorce or that, and I was going to ask you, if she were to get divorced, what would happen? So she was still a princess.
She's still a princess, but she did sign and agree to relinquish any future claim to the throne. Right. So she can't. Well, she
didn't really want it anyway.
Why the fuck would I want to do that?
Right.
Be this old crusty bitch?
She's never going to die anyway.
Not me. But she was terrified, and friends and family stated that she was terrified that they would find a way eventually to get her boys away from her. That they didn't want this divide. They wanted them primarily raised in the royal palace with their father, with the Queen.
Yeah. Because
they're the heirs. I mean, so life after royalty. Princess Diana remained a huge celebrity, and she began her new life as a free woman. She did split the custodies with the boys, and her off time she would spend traveling. So she was going to, everywhere. Then she had a few relationships in between, or fucking people, whatever. Then she met Dodi Al-Fayed. But Dodi is a hilarious name. He was the eldest of the former Harrods owner and billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed. Oh, Al-Fayed. Sorry, I said that wrong. They had 5 children. He was worth $1.87 billion. Yep.
Hook up with that guy.
This was his father. Mohammed was the owner of the famous Harrods luxury department store. He owned a football team and the Ritz Hotel in Paris. Dodi had a lot of famous girlfriends before Princess Diana, including Julia Roberts, Brooke Shields, Winona Ryder, and Nancy Sinatra.
Ooh.
Which, he's not that cute. But sometimes you look at people from like the 80s and 90s, you're like, maybe they're cute, but they're just dressed so fucking weird. Can't do it. In 1986, he married supermodel Suzanne Girard, but they divorced 8 months later. Dodi and Diana had first met when she was still married to Prince Charles. According to The Independent, it was in 1986 at a polo match, but they didn't really talk much. In 1997, Dodi's father invited Diana to spend time on their yacht in the south of France. There, Diana got to know Dodi better. Diana returned in August to spend more time with Dodi. This would be the trip where she dies.
Okay.
So she went home to spend time with her children, she came back to France to spend time with Dodi. The day before Diana's death, there was I don't know if it was the day before, but soon before her death, there was a famous photo that was on every magazine news headline of Diana and Dodi kissing. Oh. And it sent the world into like a spiral. Like,
why?
I have no idea, because
she's
the world
not I mean, she's a princess, but she's not even a princess anymore. Why does it matter?
Right, because people fucking worshipped her.
Yeah.
My mom loved her. Every fucking thing. She could have farted on a penny.
There's a fucking Beanie Baby
of Princess Diana
made after her. Yeah, there's the Princess Diana.
Oh, that's gotta be
or
weird.
the Diana bear, the Princess Diana bear.
That's gotta be weird. I told you I stood in front of her wax figure and she was majestic. I was like, why are you so pretty? And taller than I thought. So this photo going out and being so popular, it did get back to the palace.
Obviously.
And so that will kind of feed into some of these conspiracy theories. It is rumored that some members of the royal family did not approve of her relationship with Dodi.
Doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't matter.
She's not part of the royal family anymore.
She just lives in one of your apartments. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair revealed that he personally told Lady Di that he felt her relationship with Dodi was a problem because the family is Roman Catholic and has a serious history of not approving of Muslims. And Dodi was a Muslim.
Okay.
So, especially the queen, her old racist ass was like, no, white babies only.
It doesn't matter. She's not your fucking princess anymore.
But she still has ties. She's been an embarrassment this whole time. I mean, the amount of rage they feel against this woman, she's lucky she got fucking anything. But I think some of that is out of fear of what she would have said. Mm-hmm. Like the true things that happen. And I think that's the fear now with Henry and Meghan leaving too, is that like some deep secrets are going to be fucking. Mm-hmm. Okay, rumors surfaced before her death that the couple was engaged and that Diana was pregnant at the time of her death with Dodi's child. Diana had announced to the media before her death that she had a big announcement she was going to make to the press in 2 days. So, Dodi's father stated that they'd be announcing their engagement and pregnancy. Now, Dodi's father, I feel bad for him. He's clearly like a heartbroken dad who has a lot of money, hires a lot of investigators, and he is kind of behind a lot of these theories.
The guy died too?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Dodi died?
Mm-hmm. We'll get to that. Sorry. So, the crash heard around the world. So right now, they're in France, they're living it up. She's having a great time, possibly pregnant, possibly engaged. It's a normal night in Paris for 2 fucking rich people.
2 lovers.
Yes. So, we're going to talk about that terrible night. Who was in the car? We have Princess Diana, Dodi Fayed, driver Henry Paul, and her security guard. So, a timeline of the death. So, it's August 30th, 1997. Around 4:30 p.m., Diana and Fayed arrived at the Ritz Paris Hotel owned by his father. They went through the back door and were staying in the Imperial Suite.
Of course.
Which there was a weird fact throughout the day that it kind of seemed like he was taking her around and showing everything off that his father owned, because they went to like a bunch of places all day. Like, look, my dad owns this and this.
Well, but you get like free admission to that shit.
Well, exactly.
And you get treated like a king.
Yeah.
So,
you get
of course,
free
I'm going
room.
to go to all the places where I get free shit.
Free dinner, free, yeah.
It's like your birthday. You get free caribou. You get a free drink wherever.
Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Free scoop.
You get a free sandwich at Subway. I don't know.
Do you?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You just got...
No, you get free Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's, you get a free sandwich, I think.
On your birthday?
Or maybe it's a free cookie.
Why have we been going out to eat on my birthday?
Know. See, but like on your birthday, you get a bunch of free shit, so that's where you're going to go, is all those places where you get free shit.
Nothing makes me feel better than my free caribou on my birthday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I can get free caribou all throughout the year with my perks, but that day...
That's the day.
They care about me. They want to give me coffee. All right. Between 5:40 and 6:30 p.m., Fayed ventures to a jewelry store and purchases 2 rings that are later delivered to the suite.
Cute. They're going to get married.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Diana apparently told a friend that she would be receiving the rings, but for the time they were going to go on her right hand. She was not going to wear it on her left. I'm assuming because of the announcement. Mm-hmm. Around 7 p.m., Diana and Fayed exit the Ritz Hotel through the rear entrance and are driven to his residence, his home, near the Arc de Triomphe. The French are assholes. I took French. It's the worst language. At 9:50 p.m., utilizing the hotel's front entrance, the couple enters and heads to the restaurant after foregoing reservations at another high-end restaurant in Paris because of the rampant paparazzi. Like, it was so crazy, she couldn't handle it. So they decided to go back to the hotel to have dinner. In the lobby, people stated that they saw Princess Diana crying, And they were like thinking that some people would be like, she knew her death was coming right then.
Oh, yeah?
But they said that she was just super overwhelmed and that she was...
All the paparazzi, everything's going on. Was she
just
pregnant?
That's what it's believed.
They didn't do very good autopsies back in the day?
I won't get to the autopsy.
Oh, God.
It's a fucking mess.
Oh, God.
I know. But a friend that was there said that they spoke to her from the restaurant and that she was just checking on the boys and missed them and was just kind of sad that the night was not going as planned. Like, just emotional, like we all are. At 12:20 a.m., with the bodyguard, Trevor Reese Jones, Faid and Diana reportedly attempt to evade the photographers by leaving the hotel, again through the rear entrance. They enter the back seat of a black Mercedes S280 to be driven by Ritz security employee Henry Paul. Now, little information about this black Mercedes. It was owned by the hotel and their fleet service and their drivers. That car had been in a serious car accident years later and had to be basically completely rebuilt.
Years prior?
Yeah. It was in like a really awful car accident. And then I listened to some like expert that was like, you know, that kind of condition of a car should never have been used for too high profile people. Like, it's very dangerous. It was missing like the chip inside of it.
So was that not the car that they had been traveling around in all day? Did they get a different
car?
No,
they had been traveling in that car all day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it just was suspicious. Like, who's letting? Like, why is the security guard letting her drive in this old
does
car?
The security guard... I mean, you say Mercedes, blah, blah, blah. Like, was it a fancy car? Like, if I look at the car, it probably looks fine to me.
Right.
I'm not an automatic...
You just think they would look into that because she's still protected. Mm-hmm. You think they would have known or had their own vehicle? Because what if that's like after her divorce, she was really, really paranoid that someone was going to try to kill her.
So why didn't she use her own car?
Right, exactly. Or why is her security not aware of that and being like, oh, you know, we're going to only use this specific car that I've looked over and I've been, you know, sure that it's safe.
Maybe they thought she was fine.
She would make, like, people check under the car. She wouldn't get in a car until she knew that it wasn't being fucking tracked or had bombs on it or whatever.
Not this time?
Apparently not this time. And maybe because she was in France. Maybe because she wasn't in London or whatever.
She trusted her new lover?
Yeah. According to Anderson's account, which I think is one of the investigators, that the driver had 2 drinks inside the hotel lobby. This one said he had a scotch and a beer, but I heard that he was drinking... Due to a receipt, he had 2 of like a small liqueur glass, you know, like those little fancy liqueurs, and that nobody at that point, paparazzi, anyone who worked at the hotel, said that he was intoxicated. But when his blood alcohol level is determined at the time of the crash, he was 3 times the legal limit.
Oh, what was the legal limit back then?
I don't know. In France? They probably had way more than we were allowed to.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
It also detected later in a blood, hair, and spinal cord sample that he was on an antidepressant that maybe could have not helped with the alcohol.
Altered with the thing,
right.
Whatever. Maybe he thought he was off the clock for the night and was just relaxing.
Well, yeah, they went back to the hotel.
And then all of a sudden they're like, we want to leave.
Right, exactly. A lot of people try to demonize this driver. It just sounds like it's just a fucking accident, if that's truly what happened. But there's pictures of her coming out. The driver is making a big scene, screaming at the paparazzi to leave him the fuck alone.
Because he's hammered.
Because he's wasted. So high. At 12:23 a.m., the speeding car, which was only going 60 miles an hour, but they were approaching a tunnel that was 30 miles an hour. So when they say speeding, it's not like he was going 150. In a misguided attempt to outrun photographers, collides with a concrete pillar in the Pont de Alma tunnel. What the
Lama tunnel.
Oh, it's Ponte Alma tunnel. Seconds earlier, Paul's coworker, Trevor Reese Jones, had buckled his seatbelt, which Anderson said went against typical procedures for bodyguards. He's the only one who will live.
Who?
The bodyguard buckled his seatbelt right before they crashed.
He was like, shit's going down.
Nobody was wearing their seatbelt. Not a single person was wearing their seatbelt.
Click it or ticket, man.
Exactly. Which they said, and I've seen like 50 photographs, Diana always wore a seatbelt. Like you can see it in every picture. She's always got it on. And back then, people didn't wear seatbelts. Like it wasn't a mandatory thing. But it was noted that he buckled his seatbelt right before the crash. And that could have been because he felt like he was going too fast or it was chaotic and he's like, shit. But you think he would have been like,
Diana. Being a bodyguard, you're thinking this guy's going too fast. Hey, why don't you slow the fuck down?
Right.
And also, everybody put your fucking seatbelt on.
And we never know. We only know like that fucking detail. Because he was photographed not wearing a seatbelt a few times on the drive and was wearing his seatbelt at the time of the crash. So at some point he put it on. But he lives, but he suffers a horrible, horrible traumatic brain injury and cannot remember anything from that crash. which of course.
Bummer.
But they said that like he nearly died as well. So he's the only one that ultimately survives. But Princess Diana is not dead at the time of the crash. Photographer.
Everybody else is?
Everyone else.
The other two, I guess.
Yeah, the other two, the driver and Dodi, are dead upon impact.
Bummer.
So paparazzi pull up after the crash. They get out. They're obviously, some of them are taking fucking photos and being disgusting, and which they eventually have to hand over to the police. The police take everything from them. But one of the paparazzi who like knows Diana and is friends with her ran up to the car and had a conversation with her. And that she seemed agitated, but from confusion and, maybe getting her head knocked around. Mm-hmm. She had no visible injuries, just that she was shook up.
But the other two died on impact, so she had to have had some sort of injury.
Right. Another person commuting happened to be a doctor from another hospital. He responds immediately, goes over there, has a conversation with her, keeps her calm, but states at the time she did not appear to have any internal bleeding because there was no, pooling or bruising or whatever starts to happen
because he did an exam or because he had a conversation?
Because he had a conversation and I don't know.
And said, hey, do you got some bruises?
That's skeptic. Yeah, that's just a theory or what he's stating that he did.
Okay.
At 12:32 a.m., the first phone call is made to 911. The rescue workers arrive on scene to find Diana conscious but agitated. Mm-hmm. At 12:45 a.m., another French doctor arrives, not initially recognizing the extent of her injuries. He gives Diana Hypnoval and fentanyl, which fentanyl is like crazy, a combination of drugs to calm her down, but is also known to cause heart attack and respiratory issues.
Like when used together?
Yes. So the French paramedic rules and stuff is very different than America. They don't believe just get someone and get them to a hospital. Mm-hmm. They go through all these steps and they have to have a doctor advising and how they do things. So it takes...
They treat them at the scene more so.
For fucking ever. Yeah. They move her. She starts having cardiac arrest.
Uh-huh.
They stabilize her there. Then they get her into the ambulance. She starts having high blood pressure. They pull over. They...
Go to the hospital!
Right. Then they start moving a little bit again. Then she has a heart attack. Then they pull over. They give her adrenaline. So they've given her fentanyl and this other drug to make her calm. Now they're giving her a shot of adrenaline. Brings her back to life. It takes 2 hours to get her to the hospital that is Jesus. 5 miles away.
Jesus.
It's crazy. 2 fucking hours.
And who are these doctors? You just found out that Princess Diana's been in a car accident and you just send Joe Schmo from the fucking Minute Clinic down the street?
Well, and they passed 2 other hospitals on the way. But they claim those ones aren't as good. Mm. Well, if you really were caring, you would have gotten her ass right away. And there are a lot of doctors who stated she very well could have lived if they just had immediately taken her. There was a lot of shock to her system from being moved. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we all know that that's a big issue.
Don't move anybody.
Took them for fucking ever to get there. And the stopping, it's who's fucking stopping? And they were driving so fucking slow. They said it was just they were just cruising because the doctor had given an order not to drive too chaotically or you could raise her blood pressure again. It's aren't those things strapped
God forbid
down?
She has high blood pressure.
She's fucking dying.
Right.
Get her to the hospital. What else are you gonna do? She makes it to the hospital. They get her into surgery. She eventually dies of what they say is head trauma and cardiac arrest. Bummer. She's pronounced dead.
Bummer.
It's so sad. But also I didn't hear what care the security guard got because he was fucked up. Did he just get driven right away?
Probably.
Peace.
He was fine.
Help this man more. So let's get into the few conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. Henry Paul is believed to be a MI6 agent.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
It's our Secret Service or whatever.
Right.
James Bond.
Yeah.
According to reports from Richard Tomlinson was a former MI6 officer who made claims that he knew Henry Paul and that he did work for MI6.
The guy that got all the brain damage?
The guy who was the driver, who died.
Well, who said that he knew him?
Richard Tomlinson who was a former MI6 agent.
Okay, just a different, okay.
Stated that he had seen plans of an assassination attempt for another leader from another country. The MI6 had these plans to assassinate this other world leader. They never followed it through, but that the circumstances of the death and how it all went down was exactly like those plans.
Okay.
Now, MI6 did make a public statement confirming that they did have a plan like this, but decided not to carry it out, but they would not confirm that Henry Paul had ever worked for MI6.
Well, yeah, but you hinted at it because this is what happened.
Right.
He used your plan.
Right.
Which, I mean, it doesn't really matter. If he wasn't an MI6 agent, how did he get the plans to do this?
Right.
To act this out?
Right. And we'll see in one of the other conspiracy theories of what that plan actually entailed, which I think most people believe is the most logical. But, so they claim that his blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit, and that he was on antidepressants. They also found later in another test that was ordered that his carbon monoxide hemoglobin saturation level was 20.7%. Somebody who was smoking a cigarette in that moment is only 10%. And somebody was like, well, that's because he was a smoker. That means at the time of death, his carbon monoxide saturation was 40%, which is a lethal dose.
Okay.
So, not good.
Not good.
Not good. Plus, there's a lot of stories that, like, people who saw him all throughout the day.
So what would that do then? Like, how would that... Was he
Make
smoking?
him unconscious.
Well, I know that, but like, so if smoking a cigarette, you're at 10. What was he doing to make him at 20? Was he smoking 12 cigarettes?
No, they said he was. There was no photographs of him smoking in the car. I mean, I'm sure that wouldn't be allowed.
Or like, what would have caused the level to be that high?
A leak in the car's exhaust because it was a busted piece of shit.
Okay.
Just painted to look pretty.
Yeah, but then everybody would have that issue.
Right. Everyone would have everyone would have the same thing. So it's just like a mystery. They don't understand why he had such high levels of carbon monoxide.
Oh, okay.
At the time of death, because if you get like a little carbon monoxide exposure, it leaves your system pretty fast. Like go outside, get some breath.
Take a couple deep breaths.
And everyone who worked with Paul at the hotel was like, he was not a drunk. He, like you said, probably thought he had the night off, thought he was done. Had 2 little things. His receipt proves it was 2 of those little fucking sippy cups. That's not enough to make somebody a reckless driver. Perhaps in combination with those meds, but eh. So, the M16 assassination attempt, which is what people call the
MI6?
MI6? I keep saying M16. Oh, God. Which would be the bright flash theory. A lot of paparazzi and civilians who were driving down the tunnel at the same time of the crash reported seeing a blinding light and then hearing a crash that like disoriented a bunch of people.
Nobody else crashed.
But they also, people try to say that the paparazzi killed her because they were so close behind the driver. They were far away. They were just trying to get to her destination. They weren't like actively fucking chasing her. But a few motorists, because mopeds and stuff at summertime is really popular in Europe, that 2 friends that were going down into the tunnel stated that they had like 2 other bikes come up very fast besides them and get up next to the car. Then they saw this big flashing light, but because they weren't in like direct view of it, they saw the light, but they weren't like blinded, but it was like, what the fuck is that? So this assassination attempt that was reached out would use a light gun type of thing, and that it's used to blind a driver, disorient them, and make them crash. Like it's so, you can't see anything. And that was the assassination plan to take out that other world leader. So
this plan came out. Was nobody like, who the fuck were you going to try and kill?
Oh, they said it too. I'll find it.
They admitted like we were going to try and kill this guy, but
Absolutely.
we changed our mind.
Yep. It said...
Watch your back, bro.
Watch your back. I know. I think he might have been dead at that point. Assassinating Milo Sevic.
Okay.
Some person. But yeah, they were like, yeah, we were going to kill that guy with like doing this.
With this plan. But he died anyway and we didn't have to use it.
Right. So there was a lot of reports of this flashing light and that the 2 motorists. And also somebody said that right after they saw the motorists signaling to each other, like mission complete type of signal. It seemed very odd.
Like a salute.
Yeah, we did it.
Maybe it was just a thumbs up.
Yeah, we crashed that car. We did it. So that's the bright flash theory. The seatbelt theory, like I already said, she always wore her seatbelt. Her sister said that she was religious on it, and even when her kids were traveling without her, like, was a big stickler of, like, you need to fucking wear it. But this one I don't really believe that, like, somebody took her seatbelt off or whatever.
Right. Do you think her, like, new fiance said, hey, all the cool kids don't wear seatbelts. Right. Let's not wear a seatbelt today.
I think she was just quickly trying to get in the car, right. And then they took off. And I've forgotten about it sometimes. Like, and I'm a stickler on my seatbelt too, but I'll be halfway down my road and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not wearing it. Mm-hmm. So that one I don't really believe. Now, some people believe that she was purposely killed through poor medical care.
Sure.
And I guess we should start with
it would still play along in the same, like, there was that Flash theory, like,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't die, so obviously they need to kill her.
Right, which would explain why they were so, like, confused when they arrived. Like, she didn't fucking die?
Right.
And all of this stems off, I should say, that these hits are ordered by the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
Because they do not want having a half Muslim sibling to the princes. They don't want any of this shit going down because she still has her title. She still has all these rights or whatever. Mm-hmm. They don't want this. And it angered the queen. And actually, I heard that it was more Prince Philip, the queen's husband, who was, like, brutal and had ordered assassination hits before and was like, take care of this. Like, we're done. Absolutely
really?
done. Mm-hmm. That he was a very scary man. So there's a large people who believe, like, even people who live in Britain who believe that the queen doesn't make any decisions, that he's actually making the decisions in the background this whole time.
Yeah.
She just gets to be racist. So all this stems off of that. So they believe that there was a hit ordered to make the car crash. Some people believe that the driver, Omri Paul, was paid by the royal family to purposely drive into the pillar.
Yeah, but
he had a ton of money when he died. He had, like, $30,000 on his person. No, not 30.
So
like
he
13.
wasn't planning on dying.
No, I mean, he might have been planning to die in order to, like, help his family or just to get money to, like, or whatever. Or maybe he thought
that
he
money
would.
went to his family.
Yeah, because he had, like,
they just gave you a bunch of money and you're like, sure, yeah, I'll crash this car.
I'll
Not
die.
thinking, like, I'm not going to go spend it first.
Right. Well, and he had, like, 12 bank accounts, all with wire transfers of, like, large sums of money, which... That's terrifying.
I'm not going to go over there.
I'll go over there.
It's probably just the FedEx guy.
Leave it recording in case I die. Is that scary?
I just don't like answering the door.
Okay. So, obviously the car crash wasn't a success. So then they step in and are going to finish the job by giving her poor medical care. Mm-hmm. So they arrive on the scene. She's not dead. Oh, fuck. What the fuck?
I was just supposed to take the body and make, like, a statement.
Right.
And now what do I do?
Well, and there's also that, like, there's a little bit of theory that the bodyguard knew, and that's why his seatbelt was on. Like, he knew he would probably make it,
Sure.
But there's not much evidence to support that. Basically, they get a doctor there to botch the whole fucking thing and to give orders to fucking go slow, take your fucking time, don't make it there.
She needs to die.
Yeah, she needs to
do
die.
whatever you need to do.
Right.
To make that happen.
Well, it took a while for the ambulance to even get there in the first place. It wouldn't be that hard.
To swap it out.
Well, just to make sure.
They were like, oh, somebody's going to the scene.
Right.
We're going to send our guys.
And MI6 did confirm that they were in Paris that night. There was several agents. I don't know why they admitted that, but that's what they said.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah,
it was our plans.
But
we just handed them to this guy.
But we didn't do it.
We didn't do it.
God, I don't know why he has money as a driver. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have to really get into that, but basically that it was botched. Also, fascinating, you talked about the autopsy. Mm-hmm. She was embalmed right after her death.
It's not a thing.
Before an autopsy could be performed.
She is of the royal whatever the fuck is happening.
Exactly.
They wouldn't, A, do that with a nobody, B, do that with a somebody.
Exactly. And you actually need a signature from a spouse or family member stating, okay, we're satisfied with the autopsy, now you can embalm. I mean, embalming is important.
Yeah, because you need someone to verify that's who they are.
Right. They stated that they had put her in this other room and that they were totally afraid that she was going to break down rapidly. And it's like, no, she just died. Mm-hmm. Like, she's got some fucking time. So that they did it without the consent of any of her sisters or of even the royal family. Like, somebody should have been responsible for signing out for this. So it's illegal, first of all.
Yep.
And then there's...
Who got in trouble for that?
Fucking nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody got in trouble for that. That should have been a huge outrage that there was no fucking autopsy. Mm-hmm. Also, they take everything out of your body. So where's the baby? Mm-hmm. They drained her blood before they could do a blood sample. So
they didn't get, like, her blood alcohol level or her carbon dioxide or whatever. They didn't get anything.
Nothing.
What about the boyfriend?
I just heard that he got a very small funeral and not much attention was given to him.
Poor guy.
I know. Well, because he died next to a very famous woman.
Yeah, and nobody pitched a fit about her fucking death, about her autopsy.
Yeah, and I meant to ask my mom if that was, like, a big headline at the time, like, were people really, really outraged? But I totally forgot to ask her. So, yeah, they put dry ice and air conditioning units in the room to keep her cool, but they said it wasn't successful and that she was decomposing. So they fucking take...
Is this the first ever fucking body you've ever had?
Exactly. In the whole country of France, This is why I said the French are assholes.
It's the first time you've dealt with a dead body. You don't know what to do with it?
You have no fucking clue. Ooh, it stinks. It wouldn't even stink. It would take, like, days for it to stink, wouldn't it?
At least
it wouldn't
a
be
day.
great. I know when people die, they let out all their shit and gases and stuff, but it's obviously something a hospital can fucking handle. It's 97. It's not 1840.
Right.
So, yeah, all the blood's gone. There's no blood samples. All of her organs are taken out. She's completely drained, and now the embalming is processed. So we can never prove that there was a baby with a pregnancy test or a fetus. It did state that somebody had said that when she was in surgery, they noted that her heart had shifted over to the right side of her chest, and that could have been what was causing her, like, cardiac arrests and her heart attacks over the time. But I saw that other people have had that happen to them before, and you can fix it. Like, you just kind of move it.
Yeah, I mean, she obviously had a lot of other trauma, though.
Right. She did have internal bleeding, what they say, but where's the autopsy? Like, where's the formal report?
Yeah, we know nothing.
You can't just be like, oh, she died because her heart freaked the fuck out and we think she hit her head. Where is all of it? Especially for a royal. I mean, you wouldn't do that to you or me. Like, ridiculous. So, Diana's two sisters and Prince Charles were scheduled to view the body later that afternoon before bringing it back to the United Kingdom. The President of France and his wife also paid their respects to her. This is the claim that the hospital had little time to prepare for her body viewing. And it's unacceptable to present Princess Diana's body to her family or the President of France in the state it was in. Which maybe they were panicking, but you fucking know the law. Or you tell them...
They botched it anyway.
Come back later. Yeah. You have more authority over your patient than the fucking president does. Like, he doesn't just get to be like, show me her now. Why the fuck do you care about her body?
It was the princess.
Yes.
She died in your country. Under your watch.
Yeah, they were like, well, a pregnancy test would have been irrelevant at the time anyways because we didn't know that she thought she was pregnant. Bitch, there's like 40 people telling you that she was pregnant. Like, anyways. They believe that in the official report that's published, the official investigation, they stated that the car was struck by a white Fiat Uno, which is like one of those little tiny French cars. I don't know how they determined this, but that's what they believe. Is that
So
it was...
where'd that car go?
Where'd that car go? Yep. No one had seen the Fiat in the tunnel, but some witnesses reported seeing an Uno exiting the tunnel. A white Fiat Uno was owned for 9 years by a reporter, like one of Diana's favorite paparazzi. And he actually had been with Diana before she came over to France, and he said that he was going to go home. He lived in the south of France, so he's like, I'm not going to Paris with you. I'm going to go home.
I got the photos I needed.
I got the yeah.
Thanks, boo.
I made enough fucking money this week. And so he did own a white Fiat Uno. Now, reports stated that he was, in fact, in Paris that evening and that he had not gone home. But there wasn't any evidence that he was following her around that day. So this car goes missing. No one can find this white Fiat Uno, which maybe it's that popular, or no one even bothers to fucking look. It's not like there's some big alert out there. He has this car painted a different color a week after Diana dies, which could be part of it, or it
could just be that everybody's screaming about a white Fiat and he's sick of everybody calling the cops
Dude,
on
if someone's
him.
like, there's a gray Ford Taurus that just stole a child. Not me.
I don't have a gray Ford Taurus.
Start sharpieing it. Just
stop calling on me.
So he committed suicide in 2000. The official ruling was suicide, but his body was found in a black BMW that was parked in a forest, and it was set on fire.
I mean, if I'm going to commit suicide, I'm not going to start myself on fire.
Nope, no one's doing that.
In a car in the woods.
Nope. They said he poured petrol in the car and then lit a cigarette. No. Nobody's burning themselves alive.
It sounds painful.
Awful. Also,
so the car, Diana's car, there's damage to it that would indicate that it was hit by a white car. There's some sort of white paint. There's something.
Yeah.
It wasn't... Okay. I mean, even if that's the case, like the car hit her car still hit a pillar.
Right. Well, and some people will say, well, maybe that car hit that car because of the flash. Because of the bright light flash.
Bright light flash.
I mean,
was there a bright light flash? That's
the question.
Was it a thing or not?
Yeah, multiple reports of people driving behind them in the tunnel stated.
So there was a big flash.
There was a big flash.
Big flash.
And
white car accidentally hits black car.
Yeah, and nobody saw the car crash because
following her.
Like the bright light happened and then they heard the boom, so it like all happened at the same time. Also, there's like a fucking CCTV in Europe is like way more prominent than in America. Like they have cameras fucking everywhere. The camera that would have shown the cause of Princess Diana's death was recording up until I think an hour before her crash. Didn't record anything, and then was back up and running after everything was cleared out.
That's not sketchy at all.
Not at all. So, I mean, you could speculate a ton. It probably most likely is just a tragic accident. A combination of a bunch of different things.
Even if it was a tragic accident, the autopsy.
That's awful.
You could call everything up to that point an accident until you get to that autopsy. And then you're like, that's fucked up. Something's wrong here. Yeah. And then that makes you take another look at everything else.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I absolutely believe it's a tragic accident. I think there was a lot of people to gain from her dying. Embarrassment to the family, just getting her the fuck out of there because she was a pain in the ass to them. I do think it was orchestrated. Or that it was a tragic accident. She received terrible medical care, but then the family ordered that her body be drained and everything. Maybe they did order that because then there would be no evidence of a baby.
I mean, she's dead. Why does it matter if there would have been a baby?
Because it probably would have caused more media speculation and things like that.
Like they're extra sad because
she was pregnant.
Was there.
Yeah, and they were so in love, and then the sons would find out that she was going to have, they would have had a brother one day, or maybe they thought it would cause more conspiracy theories of oh, she was killed because she was, which is fucking true. Nobody's draining her body of blood and organs before an autopsy. And don't they perform that immediately? Aren't autopsies I
don't think
really
they're
fast?
Immediate, no.
But within a few hours, right?
Yeah, within a few hours.
You want the body not completely in rigor mortis and shit.
No, I think that doesn't really matter.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's pretty fucked up. You said that the dad of the boyfriend did a lot of investigating?
Muhammad, yeah, he spent, to this day, he still stands with his stories. He paid private investigators, all of his own teams to write their own report. And then his reports actually came out before the official investigation done.
Because the official investigation was dirty.
It was dirty, yeah. And then basically they just used all that report to just dispute his claims. The whole thing wasn't a serious analysis.
We're just going to see what he says and then tell everybody it's wrong.
That he's crazy and whatever. And he was emotionally distraught by the death of his son. But the family has had people killed before. And under these suspicious circumstances, if I was the parent, fuck yeah, I want to look into every aspect. And they should have taken it more seriously too. The royal family should have taken it more seriously. And the anger that I won't go into details, but there was a lot of anger from the queen and outrage in the family that she was given a royal funeral and that she was cared for the same as if she was still married to Charles.
She should have been. She's the mother of the heirs.
Right. She did not.
If you said she could still be a princess, so now you need to fucking act like she's still a princess.
Well, and if you listen to her address, the queen's address, she's reading a teleprompter. We are all very sad about Diana's death. She was a warm person. It's so monotone and
I'm being
heartless.
Forced to read this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because she does not give TV interviews. That's not her thing. I think that's probably one of the only times. Well, she's never given a TV interview. She only will do addresses, but she does not do that shit. So yeah.
I mean, that's sad.
It's so sad. It's really awful, and a bunch of people died. That guy didn't know what he was getting into that car, or that you're sacrificing all these people just so that one person can be killed.
Yeah, well, and yeah, I mean, she was innocent. She had a rough go of it, but technically didn't really do anything wrong.
No, an affair.
And then her new boyfriend.
Right.
He just loved her.
Yep.
Just wanted to be in love.
Well, her personal butler and her longtime best friend. It was in, I think, 2007. He released this letter that Princess Diana had written him a year before her death, where she stated in the letter, "They're going to kill me in a car accident. I think that they're going to find a way to get rid of me. They're going to stage an accident. Something's going to happen to me." And I mean, it was a letter written from her. I think they had it analyzed and stuff, that it was her handwriting. And
they can analyze her goddamn letter, but not her body.
Well, and she has official stationery too. So, yeah, that is when I got to that part of the podcast, because I didn't know that. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's crazy.
We could have had all these answers, and now we have none.
Yeah, well, then just let it happen. Because if it's not, and if it's a real accident, you don't try to cover up an autopsy. You don't drain the body.
Well, yeah.
How are they not in jail? Or malpractice suits or whatever.
How come nobody got flack for that?
You'd
get in trouble for that if you fucked up an autopsy on a nobody.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what would happen.
So dumb.
It's the worst thing that you could do. And hospitals are so diligent of steps and shit. Oh my god. And wouldn't she have had, like, immediately they should have sent somebody, like, part of, like, the royal guard to, like, go guard her body. Like, that was part of typical practices, too. Like, somebody should have immediately been... Doesn't take long to get to Paris.
She's got to have other bodyguards.
From England, yeah. Take a fucking plane, and somebody should have been standing outside of her door, like... Well, not that would have...
Or what about... So that other... I can't remember his name. Sorry, the boyfriend. He didn't have any bodyguards or anybody, any staff. Mm-mm. He was pretty rich. His dad's pretty rich.
It said that days prior, he started having more security guards around him, but they believe that was just because of the increase of paparazzi after that photo came out. Mm-hmm. And that he was just probably more worried about being roughed around or harassed or things like that. But not that night. They just had one. And they didn't have any other security following. One. And where the fuck were they going?
Where were they going?
I have no idea. They all died. They could have been just trying to get the fuck out of there. Maybe they're going back to his home or something, but...
Was his home that way?
I don't think so. I don't know. That was... I can't confirm that. So, yeah. That's fucked up.
Thank you for presenting me with this tidbit of information that has no fucking solution.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. What do you think? What is your, like... What do you... In your heart of hearts... I know we have to go here in a minute. What in your heart of hearts, what do you think actually happened?
I don't know. I mean, it has to be fucked up because of the autopsy. Mm-hmm. Like I said before, it could have been any sort of tragic accident, whatever. Mm-hmm. But they fucked up that autopsy. They fucked up with that, and that indicates foul play. And then, so everything had to have been garbage.
It's either they're covering up that they killed her or had her killed, or they're covering up the fact that she was pregnant. One of those two.
They're covering up something, and that's dirty.
Dirty, dirty.
Not okay.
Fucking A.
And you obviously believe it because you believe everything.
Yeah, I do. I believe that there's foul play. I don't necessarily believe that the MI6 thing 100%. Mm-hmm. I don't know enough information or if that's plausible. I definitely don't believe that the driver was drunk. I mean, I don't think that's enough. But the carbon monoxide...
So did they make up that blood alcohol level then?
They could. I mean, yeah, if they're in full control of everything, they could have. Sure. Absolutely. Why only release his blood alcohol level? And not everyone else in the car.
Yeah.
Why are you just exposing that one? It seems, I don't know.
Because he was the driver.
Right.
Doesn't matter if Diana was hammered. She had a designated driver.
Yep. Don't trust your designated drivers, folks. Always drive yourself. Just kidding. All right. Well, I'm glad I got to share that depressing information with you.
Thank you for ruining my day.
You're welcome. Have a great day off. Do you have a fuck you of the week?
No.
Great.
Fuck you to the rooster.
Fuck you to that rooster. And to that guy. Fuck you. Don't come here when we're podcasting.
Don't ring my doorbell. Don't ever ring my doorbell. I tried to demand to not have a doorbell.
Just remove it. No, because then they're going to knock, which sounds scarier.
Just don't come to my house unless you're invited.
You can put no soliciting. Not that people are going to listen to that. They'll just take it down. I don't like when people knock on my door at home. I'm always like on the floor looking out my living room window or like waiting for their head to pop up. I opened it last week. It was somebody like campaigning for some person I was not going to vote for. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is a waste of my time.
Yeah, and then you have to find a kind of sort of polite way to get them the fuck off your front porch. Mm-hmm. And I'm not interested in that sort of conversation.
Travis is beautiful at it. He just did it the other day. Someone was trying to sell us a vacuum. And he goes, no thanks, man. I have a vacuum. And he just shut the door. And I was like, that's gorgeous. But he's also a dude. Like,
and I can't. Oh, I can't.
It's MI6. They're going to murder us. Then they're going to drain our bodies of blood. We'll finally be thin. Imagine how much we'd weigh if we didn't have any blood. All right.
Sounds promising.
Sounds great. Well, R.I.P. Princess Di.
Sorry, man.
Sorry about that. You didn't deserve that. That's so sad.
Bummer.
Good luck, Megan. Don't be driving down that tunnel.
Don't go anywhere near the llama tunnel.
Stay in Canada. Oh, no, Canada doesn't want them. They're coming to America. That's going to be great.
Great.
All right, well, I'll see you next week then.
Bye.
Bye.